Department, Online Education for English Medium, Class 9. The subject which I'm going to teach you is Science subject, and the topic which we are going to conduct today is Substances in Common Use. And in that, the subtopic which we are going to see is Table salt and baking salt. Today is our first session for this chapter. My name is Ms. Bushra Maksud Ahmed and our channel nodal officer name is Mrs. Almaz Hanoure. Let's start with this chapter. So student, chapter number 14, Substances in Common Use. Now see, with the name only, Substances in Common Use, what we understood? Substances in common use means whatever substances which we are using in a day-to-day life, we will see in this chapter what are the scientific view, how it is useful, why that substances are useful in common lives, why not other substances are used. Okay, so we will understand all the properties, uses and nature of all the substances which we are using in our day-to-day life. Okay, now we are going to see the topic. Now see, substances, which substances we are using, students? Examples, some examples I have taken here, such as, can you see the photographs here, the pictures I have posted? See, soaps we are using for bathing purpose, water, then curd, homemade curd, right? Then toothpaste. These all things which we are using in a day-to-day life. Some examples are table salts, also soap, toothpaste, baking soda, water, curds, washing powder, etc. Number of things which we are using in a day-to-day life. But we don't know what is the properties of that substances, right? So in this chapter, we will see all the properties in a scientific view. What are the properties of all the substances which are using? Okay. Now first, before going to that, we will see what are salts. The ionic, see, first I'll read it out, then I'll explain you. The ionic compound which do not contain H plus and OH minus ions are called, the ionic compound which do not contain H plus and OH minus ions the ionic compound which do not contain H plus and OH minus ions and contains only one kind of cations and anions are called simple salts. Now see, what does this definition mean, students? The ionic compound which do not contain, they do not contain which ions? H plus positive and negative OH minus ions, and contains only one kind of cations and anions. What do you mean by cations and anions, students? Cations are positively charged ions and anions are negatively charged ions, right? So when only a compound, ionic compound contains only this one kind of cations and anions, they are called what? Simple salts. Now, inorganic substances occur naturally in the form of salts rather than acids and bases. Now see, inorganic substances, now they occurs naturally in which form, students? It forms in, they forms naturally in which form? Salt form rather than acids or bases. They does not occurs in acids and bases. They just occurs in a salt form. Now about 80 million tons of salts are added every year to seawater. Therefore, the sea is said to be rich source of salts. Now, see, you'll tell ma'am how 80 million tons are added in a seawater every year. Due to the natural phenomena, students, every year, how much tons of salts are added in our sea? 80 million tons of salts are added. And for that reason, when we see, when we taste the water, when we just examine the water of sea, we feel that seawater is said to be what? It is rich source of salts. Now see, sea is a rich source of several salts of various elements such as chlorine, sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, bromine. Now see, there are various types of salts that are present in a sea, from which we can obtain various elements. Which elements we can obtain, student? Such as chlorine, sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, bromine. These all elements we can obtain from the salts which are present in a seawater. So I hope you all have understood right now what are salts and which types of salts are obtained from seawater, why seawater is a rich source of salt, and which elements we can obtain from seawater, right? Now we'll go to the next slide, students. Okay, now see, we'll go important salts found in seawater. What are the important salts which are found in seawater? Now see, sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate, potassium chloride, calcium carbonate, magnesium bromide. These all are what? These all are the salts which are found in the seawater. Mainly in exams also it is asked that which are the important salts that are found in seawater. So you will name all this, right? Sodium chloride, magnesium sulfate, potassium chloride, calcium carbonate, and magnesium bromide. This all are what? These all are the examples of salt which are found in a sea water. Now students, we will go to our indicator termed as universal indicator. But before going to universal indicator, first we will learn what do you mean by common indicator. Now see, when we are testing some substances, whether it is acidic in nature, basic in nature, or neutral in nature, what we use some indicators, right? So some common indicators we use in a science laboratory also are what? Litmus paper. Have you seen the red litmus paper and blue litmus paper there? Then we can use a China rose indicators also. Phenolphthalein is also used, right? Now from that there is a universal indicator is also there, but due to common indicator, what we can just what we can observe that we can just examine whether the substance is acid, basis, or neutral, but we cannot measure the strength of the acid in acid substance, the strength of base in basic substance, right? But due with the help of universal indicator, we can measure what? We can measure the strength of acid, strength of bases in the substance which we are measuring. Now see, common indicator cannot give us the strength of acids and base, right? It just show whether the substance is acid or a substance is base. To measure the strength of acids and bases, we need a universal indicator. What? To just measure the strength of acid and base, we need what? We need a universal indicator. Universal indicator is a mixture of different indicators which gives different colors at different pH value of entire pH scale. Now see, whenever this activity we can perform it in school, that we'll take what? We take a test tube in which we'll take a substance of which we want to measure its nature, we want to see its nature, and we will just add 4 to 5 drops of universal indicator in it, and what we'll see some changes in the color. As we just put a universal indicator and we'll shake it, now we'll see some colors in that. When we see that colors, there's a scale known as pH scale. So that color is matched with that pH scale. And when we match that color, we can just right now we can say that what is the strength of acid and basis nature of that substances. Okay, so universal indicator about the color which we obtain, we can evaluate with the help of pH scale. So we'll just see now what is pH scale. Now see students, can you see a colorful scale here? This colorful scale is nothing but it is a pH scale. Now from number 1 to 6, can you see colors from 1 to 6? From dark red to yellow? Okay, so when we just do the activity and I have obtained the color from among this 1 to 6, we can see that the substances are acidics. Means in scale number 1 to 6 represents acidic nature, right? Now, can you see number 8 to 14? Yeah, from very a little green to the 14th one, the violet one, right? We can see that when we obtain the color of universal indicator which we are performing in the activity, and if I obtain such colors, so I can say that the substance is basic in nature. It means that number 8 to 14 shows as the basic nature, the base nature of that substances. Now what will be about number 7 students? Number 7, if we'll do the activity and we'll find the color same as number 7, so it means that that substance is neutral in nature. Means it is neither acidic nor basic in nature. It is neutral. Now see here students, I have just taken some examples when we perform an activity, so we can examine that, we can evaluate that these substances are acidic and basic in nature. Now see, first when I have taken pure water and I have put some 4 to 5 drop of an universal indicator in that, what I obtain, there's a very light green yellow color I have obtained there, and from which when um, I have just matched it with the pH scale. What I have seen that the nature of pure water is what? Pure water is neutral. Same when salts I am taking, same thing I can obtain for salts also. So salt solution also. So it means that that's are also neutral in nature. When I take milk, milk when we are drinking in the morning at the night time, if we'll take a little amount of milk and we'll just add it up a 4 to 5 drop of universal indicator, what we'll see, it will turns to yellow color. And when we match it with this pH scale, what we'll find that it is acidic in nature. But when I'll take coffee, black coffee, right? And I'll do the same activity. I'll repeat it out. I will see it is light orange in color, right? So with this, what I can examine that black coffee is more acidic than milk. If the same activity I'll do with tomato juice, right? I will get a color little dark orange color. With this, what can I can evaluate that tomato juices are more acidic as compared to black coffee and milk. Same thing with apple juice, lemon juice, gastric juice. So see students, what we can examine here, we can examine the strength of acid in the various substances which we are using in day-to-day life, right? So what we can observe, what we can evaluate here, that milk is less acidic than black coffee. Black coffee is less acidic than tomato. Apple juice is more acidic than tomato juice. Lemon juice is more acidic than apple juice. Gastric acids which are present in our stomachs, that are more acidic as compared to all these substances, right? So with the help of this scale, it's become very simple for us to determine the strength of acids that which we are using in our day-to-day life. Now we'll go to the basic compounds. Now we know eggs. We all love to eat eggs, right students? So when I take a small amount of egg in a test tube and have put a universal indicator, 4 to 5 drops of universal indicator in that, what I obtain? I obtain the light green color more than a neutral color, right? So when I match it with the pH scale, what I found that the egg is what it is basic in nature. When I use baking soda and I have continued the same activity here also, I have found some different green color, like a more dark green color as compared to egg one. Then of hand soap, then of ammonia solution, then I've done the same activity with bleach, concentrated solution of alkalis. So I've found different colors of these different solutions. So I found that baking soda is more basic as compared to eggs. Hand soaps are more basic. The strength are more basic than baking soda and egg. Same ammonia solution is more basic. Bleach are more basic than all these things. Then concentrated solution of alkalis are the the natures are most basic. So what I learned is here the strength of base, strength of basic nature of the substance, right? So universal indicators are just that I'm trying to explain you that um, universal indicators are used to measure what? To measure the strength of acids and base in of a substance rather than just determining whether it is acid or base. It determines the exact strength of acids and base. So I hope you all have understood the pH scale, the pH value, and the universal indicator, right? Now we'll go to the further topic. Now students, the salt which we are using in our day-to-day life, right? Without salt, does our dish become can we able to eat the dish? No, right? So the salt which we are using in our day-to-day life, what is that salt? What does it consist of? What is the chemical name of that salt? What is the chemical formula of that salt? Right? This some type of this question should come in your mind. Better see, when you learn science now, better you ask question to yourself and find out and try to find out the answers, so you can understand what are the things happening around us, why that things are there around us, right? So now see, we'll come to a point that common salts, the chemical name is what? Sodium chloride. Now common salt, they are also known as table salt. Now what is the chemical formula of that? The chemical formula is NaCl. Na stand for sodium and Cl stand for chloride. Sodium chloride is formed by the neutralization reaction between sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. Aqueous solution of salt. Now see, student, you will tell ma'am this you are reading out, we are not getting understood at any point. Now see, sodium chloride is formed by what? Is it formed by neutralization reaction? What do you mean by neutralization reaction? See, reactions when acid and base reacts with each other and give us salts and water, that reaction is termed as what? Neutralization reaction. Now see, here what are the acids and bases? See, bases are sodium hydroxide and acid is hydrochloric acid. Now remember student, any compound which contain hydroxide, OH, that compounds are termed as base. Okay. Now see, here, sorry, here, sodium hydroxide NaOH plus hydrochloric acid HCl give us what? NaCl plus H2O. Now see, aqua, the next point, aqueous solution of salt is neutral in nature. I've explained you. Yeah. Now see, when we have checked water, it is neutral in nature. Same way, when we just check the solution of salt, we will find that it is neutral in nature. Hence, what will be the pH value of this bacha? The pH value of salt will be 7. Okay, because it is neutral in nature. Now, if they have told us to represent is in a chemical reaction form, how we will represent in chemical reaction form? Now see, sodium hydroxide. Sodium stand for Na, hydroxide stand for OH. So NaOH plus hydrochloric acid HCl gives what? NaCl plus H2O. Can you see the replacement here, student? Na get attached with Cl, give us NaCl, sodium chloride, plus a hydrogen get combined with OH, give us what? H2O, that is water. And see here a photograph of common salt also, I have shown it out. Now I hope you all have understood very well what is table salt, that is sodium chloride. Now we will see some properties and uses of this. So common salt, that is sodium chloride. Now see student, properties and uses. Common salt is a colorless and crystalline ionic compound. Now first line I'll explain you. Can you see the color of common salt? No. Hence common salt is what? Colorless. And it is crystalline ionic compound. Crystalline ionic compound, see, when we take a pinch of salt in a hand and we will feel it, how does it feel? We can feel some crystalline structure in a hand. Can we feel a smooth? No. We feel some crystals, we feel some crystalline structure in her. Hence, they are termed as crystalline ionic compounds. There is no water of crystallization in its crystalline structure. Now see, no water. See, when we take it in a hand, can we found it as a wet? No, na. So when it just when just it is fully in its crystalline structure, there is no water in its crystalline structure. Okay, and crystallization is a different concept. Crystallization is a concept. See, when we take an aqueous solution, if I'll take a salt and I'll mix it with a water, right? And I will try to add it up, and I'll heat that solution and I'll add up the salt again and again to make it fully saturated. A term comes when it becomes totally concentrated, then we'll let it cool it down for some times, and after some times what we'll see that the crystal of that substance occurs. That term is nothing but a crystallization. So when all this crystallization happens, right? So same of common salt, when crystallization is occurs, so in that is no water in that crystalline structure. This is the first point. Now second point, it is neutral salt, salty in taste. We know that it is neutral in nature and salty in taste. When we taste it, it is salty in taste. This compound is used for the productions of salt like Na2CO3, NaHCO3. Now see student, what is Na2CO3 and NaHCO3? I'll explain you in the next slide very well. Just right now, let us remember that salts are used for the production of these substances, Na2CO3, that is sodium carbonate, and NaHCO3, termed as sodium hydrogen carbonate or sodium bicarbonate. Now, what is this? I'll explain you. Now, see, the next point, when an electric current is passed through a saturated solution of sodium chloride, brine, it is electrolyzed and hydrogen gas is released at the cathode while chlorine gas is released at the anode. This method is used for production of chlorine gas. In this method, an important basic compound NaOH is formed in the cell. Now see students, this whole point which I have read it out right now, this process is nothing but an electrolysis process. Okay, now what do you mean by electrolysis process? Now see, if I'll take a container and I'll put somewhat saturated solution of sodium chloride, that is salt, saturated solution. So saturated solution of sodium chloride is also termed as was brine. Then I'll put two rods in it, terms at cathode and anode, and when I will attach it with an electric cell, what is generated? Potential difference is generated. Now when the electrolysis process is going on, cathode is what? Cathodes are negatively charged and anodes are positively charged. So when this process is going on, what we see, as cathode is negatively charged, so hydrogen gas is what? Positively charged, so it will get attracted toward hydrogen gas. While chlorine gas is what? Negatively charged, so it will get attracted towards anode because anodes are positively charged, right? So all the chlorine gas can be released at the anode. So see students, in this method what we see, we get a production of what? Chlorine gas. Now if I will explain, try to explain you in a chemical reaction form. Now see NaCl, brine, I have told you, saturated solution of NaCl plus H2O, that is water. What I get? NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, plus Cl2 gas is get released from anode, and hydrogen gas is released from cathode. Now I'll show you a diagram which is explaining us this electrolysis process. Now see students, this is a diagram right now which I have explained you. Electrolysis, a container consists of a brine, that is saturated solution of sodium chloride. When two rods, cathodes and anodes, are dipped into it and it is connected by battery cells, see the potential difference occurs, and so due to that the charges, the ions which are present in the solution get separated from each other. So what we get, that as the cathodes are negatively charged, the positive hydrogen ions get attracted towards cathode, and chlorine are negatively charged, it is get attracted towards anodes which are positively charged. Hence we found that hydrogen gas and chlorine gas are collected towards cathode and anode respectively. And what we found that the solution consists of right now NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide. Okay, now we'll see the next point. When salt is heated to a high temperature, about 800 degrees Celsius, it melts. Now see, have you tried to melt the salt at your home? You see that it is not melting, right? Because its melting point is very high, right? So how much high temperature of heat is required to melt the salt? About 800 degrees Celsius of high temperatures is required to melt the salt. And that state, when the salt gets melts at 800 degrees Celsius, this is called the fused state of the salt. Okay, students, have you understood now what is called the fused state of salt? When salt get heated up at the temperature of 800 degrees Celsius and it melts, at that stage is termed as fused state of the cell. Next point, when fused state is electrolyzed, chlorine gas is released at cathode and liquid sodium metal at the cathode. Now see students, when same electrolysis process we will do with the fused salt. Okay, when that is electrolyzed, at that time chlorine gas is released from which rod? From anode, and liquid sodium metal will be collected near the cathode. Now we are going to see about rock salts. What do you mean by rock salts? Can you see here students a beautiful picture of Himalayan pink rock salt? It just give like a little pink in color. Okay, these salts are termed as Himalayan pink salt rock. Okay, now what is this? Why they are used? Now see, salt is also obtained from a certain types of rock. It is obtained from what? Certain types of rock. Salts are obtained from rocks also. These salts are called rock salts. Now see, whatever salts which are obtained, which we are obtaining from rocks, that are termed as rock salts. The mineral halite and Himalayan rock salts are some examples of rock salt. Now, what are some examples of rock salt? Halite and Himalayan rock salt. The photograph also I have shown you. These are some examples of rock salt. This salt is used to treat many diseases. Now see, this salt which we are obtaining from rocks, it is also useful for treating many more diseases also. Now we are going to learn, students. See, I have told you now, I'll explain you what is NaCO3 and NaHCO3. So from that, first I'll explain you what is NaHCO3. Now see, student, do you know baking soda? Might be your mothers are knowing baking soda. See, whenever you want, na mummy, I want dhoklas, I want cakes, I want bhajis. So see, what does this bhajis, this cake, this all made so crispy, so yummy? Why? Because mama is adding which soda in it? Baking soda. So baking soda is nothing but NaHCO3, that is termed as sodium bicarbonate. Now see, the chemical name of baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, that is Na, and so chemical formula is NaHCO3. Baking soda is white non-crystalline powder. Now who and see, of salt, what I have told you, it is crystalline powder, and here I am telling you it is non-crystalline powder. So what will be the difference between these? See, when I take baking soda in my hand and when I just feel it, I feel that it is very smooth. No crystalline effect I have found in my hand. So what does it shows that it is non-crystalline powder. So baking soda is a white non-crystalline powder. Now I've already told you the chemical name. It is sodium hydrogen carbonate, or we can term it as sodium bicarbonate. See, if in exams, in multiple choice questions also, many time it is asked what is the chemical formula of baking soda. So sometimes in options they give sodium hydrogen carbonate or sodium bicarbonate. Both are the one and the same, so don't get confused in it. And what is the molecular formula, students? It is NaHCO3. Now, students, we are going to learn about properties and uses of this baking soda. What is the properties and what are the uses of this baking soda? NaSCO3 reacts with moist litmus paper and red litmus paper turns blue, which means that it is basic in nature. Now see, if I'll take a solution of baking soda and I'll put a red litmus paper, moist red litmus paper in that solution, what I see that the red litmus paper turns blue. So whenever red litmus paper turns blue, it shows that what? It shows that that substance is, the nature is basic. It is basic in nature. Now see, in domestic use, it is used to make bread, cake, dhoklas, right? So when you told your mama, "Mummy, I'm hungry. I want to eat a bread with a omelette. Mummy, I want cake. I want dhoklas, or I want bhajis." This all thing. So to make all this thing, there is a special component which your mom is using. That is baking soda to make it what? To make it spongy, to make it crispy. Now, see, being basic in nature, it is used to reduce acidity in the stomach. Now, we all know that when we feel acidity in the stomach, right? So, what we use antacids, right? Now, we use ENO, right? So, in ENOs also, what is present? Baking soda is present. Now, when we use antacid consists of what? It consists of milk of magnesia. Okay, students. So antacid which is there, or enos what which we are using, this all things are what? This all things are basic in nature. So whenever we feel acidity in our stomach, we use all these basic compounds to reduce the acidity. Now NaSCO3 is used to make the active substance CO2 in fire extinguisher. See, students, in the last chapter, we have discussed carbon an important element, right? In that we have seen the working of fire extinguisher. So what we have seen that NaSCO3 reacts with what? Sulfuric acid, right? We have seen that, and which gases produce carbon dioxide. So if we don't use this baking NaSCO3 baking soda in that, so baking soda and sulfuric acid, these both things get actively reacts with each other, and we get what? CO2 released in the fire extinguisher. So this is an important compound to be used in fire extinguisher. Now, baking soda is used to clean an oven. To clean an oven also, baking soda is used. We all use oven at our home, right? Many of the students are using oven, or even in bakeries, we see ovens are there. So to clean all these ovens, what is used? Which component is used? Baking soda. So we have seen so much uses of baking soda, right, student? That it is used for cleaning purpose also, for eating purpose also, for fire extinguisher purpose also, to reduce acidity also. So there are lots of uses of this baking soda also. So student, today we have seen two substances, that is common salts and baking soda, which we are using in our day-to-day life. Now we will revise this topic using one video.
Important salts in daily life. Can you tell what are salts? The ionic compounds which do not contain hydrogen and hydroxide ions and contain only one kind of cation and anion are called simple salts. Sodium sulfate, potassium phosphate, calcium chloride are some examples of salts. Inorganic substances are found in nature in the form of salts. Sea is a rich source of several salts of various elements such as chlorine, sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, bromine. Do you know? Some of the important salts found in seawater include sodium chloride, magnesium sulfate, potassium chloride, calcium carbonate, and magnesium bromide. Come, now let us perform an activity to study more about salts. Activity. Let us first prepare saturated solutions of some salts such as table salt, soap, washing soda, and baking soda. Let us put 2 to 3 drops of the universal indicator in them. Compare the colors with the pH color chart and note down the observations in the table. We observe that the solution of table salt is originally colorless. On addition of the universal indicator, its color changes to green. On comparing this color with the pH color chart, we find that the pH of the solution of table salt is 7. We know that pH 7 indicates a neutral solution. This shows that the solution of table salt is neutral. Soap solution is also originally colorless. On addition of the universal indicator, its color changes to violet. On comparing this color with the pH color chart, we find that the pH of soap solution is 13. We know that the pH greater than 7 indicates basic solution. This shows that soap solution is basic. The solution of washing soda is originally colorless. On addition of the universal indicator, its color changes to blue. On comparing this color with the pH color chart, we find that the pH of washing soda solution is 9. This indicates that the solution of washing soda is basic. The solution of baking soda is also originally colorless. On addition of the universal indicator, its color changes to blue. On comparing this color with the pH color chart, we find that the pH of baking soda solution is 8.5. This indicates that the solution of baking soda is basic. From this activity, we understand the use of pH color chart for determining the pH of various solutions. If the pH of the solution is less than 7, the solution is acidic. If it is more than 7, it is basic. And if it is 7, then the solution is neutral. Now let us make a list of a few substances in day-to-day use in accordance with their pH value from 1 to 14. Has pH 1 to 3. Lemon juice has pH 2.5. Vinegar has pH 3. Tomato juice has pH 4.1. Black coffee has pH 5. Milk has pH 6.5. Pure water has pH 7. solution of baking soda has pH 8.5. Toothpaste has pH 9.5. Detergents have pH 10. Milk of magnesia has pH 10.5. Lime water has pH 11. Drain cleaner has pH 14. We know that a salt made from a strong acid and a strong base is neutral and has pH 7. A salt made from a strong acid and a weak base is acidic salt and has pH less than 7. While a salt made from a weak acid and strong base is basic salt and has pH more than 7. Now let us study more about some salts of everyday use. Sodium chloride, table salt, NaCl. Table salt or common salt, which is used for cooking, is the most widely used of all salts. Its chemical name is sodium chloride. It is formed by the neutralization reaction of a strong acid, that is hydrochloric acid, and a strong base, that is sodium hydroxide. Therefore, it is a neutral salt. Its aqueous solution has pH 7. Now let us understand the properties and uses of common salt. It is a colorless and crystalline ionic compound. It does not have water of crystallization in its crystalline structure. It is salty in taste. It is used for the production of salts like sodium carbonate, that is washing soda, and sodium bicarbonate, that is baking soda. It is used for the production of chlorine gas. The method involves electrolysis of the saturated solution of sodium chloride brine. The reaction releases hydrogen gas at the cathode while chlorine gas at the anode. Also, an important basic compound, sodium hydroxide, is formed in the cell. The given reaction represents the electrolysis of sodium chloride. When sodium chloride salt is heated to a temperature that is about 800 degrees Celsius, it melts. This is called the fused state of the salt. Electrolysis of the fused state of sodium chloride releases chlorine gas at the anode and liquid sodium metal at the cathode. Do you know? Salt is also obtained from a certain type of rock. This salt is called rock salt. Some examples of rock salt include mineral halite and Himalayan rock salt. This salt is used for treatment of many diseases. The 25% aqueous solution of salt is called saturated brine. When 1/5 of this solution is evaporated, the dissolved salt crystallized and salt gets separated from the solution. Sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, NaHCO3. You must have tasted a cake and bhaji. Have you ever thought what makes the cake porous or the bhaji crisp? This is because of the baking soda added in them. Baking soda is a white non-crystalline powder. Its chemical name is sodium hydrogen carbonate or sodium bicarbonate. Its molecular formula is NaHCO3. Now let us understand the properties and uses of sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate turns the red litmus blue. This shows that it is basic in nature. It is used to make bread, cake, dhokla. As it is basic in nature, it is used to reduce acidity in the stomach. It is used to make the active substance carbon dioxide in the fire extinguisher. It is used to clean an oven. Now, let us
Okay, students, so we have just seen a video, a revision of the topic which I have taught you today. Now this is an assignment for you. Take a screenshot of it, name the salts found in seawater, write the properties and uses of sodium chloride, what are the constituents of baking soda, where it is the baking sodas are used, and show it to your teachers. So this is the end of the lecture. Thank you for watching my lecture, students.